There's something special about waking up before the rest of the world. In those early moments, while everything is still quiet, life feels different. The silence wraps around you gently. No notifications, no pressure, no noise demanding your attention. Just you and the beginning of a brand new day. That moment is sacred, because the morning is more than just another part of the day. It's a blank canvas waiting for you to shape it. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Before sunrise, he would ask himself a simple but powerful question: what am I waking up for today? He knew something most people forget: the morning doesn't control us. We shape the morning with our thoughts, our actions, and our willingness to rise even when comfort tells us to stay in bed. That's why the ancient Stoics treated dawn with such respect. They understood that the way you begin your day influences everything that follows. Morning is where transformation begins. It's where the person you are today meets the person you want to become tomorrow. And in that quiet meeting with yourself, real change becomes possible. Think about water flowing down a mountain. It doesn't carve through rock in one powerful rush. It begins slowly, one drop at a time, then another. Over time, those small drops create canyons through solid stone. Your morning habits work the same way. They may seem small, but with consistency and intention, they become powerful enough to reshape your entire life. We live in a culture that glorifies late nights, exhaustion, and constantly pushing harder. People wear burnout like a badge of honor. But the Stoics believed something different. They knew true strength isn't found in running yourself into the ground. It's found in discipline, in balance, in the quiet victory of choosing growth over comfort and presence over distraction. Seneca once wrote, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." Every morning is its own little lifetime. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It brings new challenges, new opportunities, and one important choice. Will you live intentionally or reactively? When you wake up early with purpose, you're doing more than gaining extra time. You're reclaiming control over your life. You're saying, I decide how this day begins. I decide what energy I bring into it. I decide which thoughts deserve my attention. And those choices ripple into every part of your day. The beauty of the morning isn't only in its peace. It's in its honesty. Because early in the morning, before the world starts watching, you see yourself clearly. No performance, no pretending, just you, your breath, and one honest question: what kind of person do I want to be today? This journey isn't about perfection. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about meeting yourself with clarity and compassion. It's about building a form of discipline that feels like self-respect instead of punishment. And most importantly, it's about remembering that every sunrise offers a fresh beginning, not a demand, an invitation. So as we explore these 7 principles of morning stoicism together, remember this: you're not simply learning routines or productivity tricks. You're reconnecting with timeless wisdom that has guided philosophers, warriors, leaders, and ordinary people for thousands of years. You're learning to see your mornings for what they truly are: a gift, a teacher, and a sacred space where your future self is quietly being shaped. Before we continue, pause for a moment and write these words in the comments. I rise with intention and purpose. Let it become your declaration. And stay with this journey until the end, because transformation doesn't happen in fragments. It happens through consistency, reflection, and practice. Now let's begin. 1. The power of ritual. There is something deeply human about ritual. Something that goes beyond logic and speaks directly to our need for meaning, stability, and connection. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't wake up each day hoping motivation would magically appear. Instead, they created simple, repeatable morning rituals that grounded their minds and prepared them for life. Small acts became sacred acts. One of the practices taught by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus was premeditatio malorum, the practice of mentally preparing yourself for challenges before they happen. Not to become fearful, but to become steady. Because when you prepare your mind in the morning, the world loses its power to shake you so easily. Ritual creates stability, and stability creates strength. The Stoics believed deeply in the practice of preparing the mind for life's challenges. One of their teachings was the premeditation of difficulties, not to create fear, but to build resilience before hardship arrived. But alongside that, they taught something equally powerful: the importance of consistent daily practice. Epictetus once said, "First tell yourself what kind of person you want to be, and then act accordingly." Your morning ritual is where that transformation begins. It's the place where intention turns into action. Imagine a lighthouse standing tall against crashing waves. Storms come and go. Winds shift. The sea grows violent. Yet the lighthouse remains steady, offering the same guidance night after night. Your morning ritual should become that lighthouse, a steady anchor in a constantly changing world. When you create a predictable morning rhythm, even something simple like waking up at the same time, drinking water, sitting quietly, or setting an intention for the day, you're doing more than building habits. You're sending a message to your nervous system. You are safe. You are grounded. You know what comes next. And when the mind feels safe, it stops racing in every direction. It becomes calm enough to focus. That's the hidden power of ritual. Not complexity, reliability. The human brain loves patterns. It's designed to seek them. The more consistently you repeat a morning practice, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may require discipline, but over time, resistance fades. By the 7th day, by the 30th day, it no longer feels like effort. It simply becomes part of who you are. But this is where Stoicism goes deeper than ordinary routines, because ritual alone isn't enough. What matters is the intention behind it. Anyone can go through the motions half awake and distracted. But the Stoics approached their mornings with awareness and meaning. When Marcus Aurelius followed his morning routine, he wasn't just completing tasks. He was preparing his character for the day ahead. He reminded himself of his values, his purpose, his commitment to wisdom, patience, and virtue. So what does this look like in everyday life? It means choosing a few simple actions that help you feel centered. Maybe it's lighting a candle and taking a few deep breaths. Maybe it's reading a paragraph of wisdom before touching your phone. Maybe it's standing quietly at the window and appreciating the gift of another sunrise. The exact ritual doesn't matter nearly as much as your presence within it. And that word, presence, is everything, because this is where many people lose the true power of routine. They create habits, but they move through them unconsciously. Their body is present, but their mind is already lost in the stress of the day ahead. The Stoic approach is different. Each moment deserves your attention. When you drink water, you truly feel the water. When you breathe, you notice the breath. When you sit in silence, you allow yourself to fully arrive in the moment. That is when ritual becomes transformation. There's a reason monasteries ring bells at certain hours. Why sacred traditions repeat prayers. Why athletes follow pre-game routines before stepping into competition. They all understand the same truth. Consistency creates inner strength. When your mornings are grounded and predictable, your mind gains space to go deeper. You stop wasting energy deciding what comes next, and instead direct that energy toward growth, focus, and self-mastery. And here's the beautiful paradox. Structure doesn't reduce freedom. It creates it. When your mornings feel stable, the rest of your day becomes easier to navigate. You can adapt to challenges, handle surprises, and respond calmly to chaos because you began the day from a place of balance instead of confusion. The Stoics also understood something important about imperfection. You will not follow your ritual perfectly every day. Some mornings you'll feel exhausted. Some mornings resistance will win. Some mornings life will interrupt your plans entirely. And that's okay. The power of ritual is not in never failing. It's in returning. It's in saying, "Yesterday I drifted away, but today I begin again." That is the practice. That is the path. So tonight, before you go to sleep, ask yourself, what 3 simple actions could anchor my mornings? What ritual am I willing to commit to, not just for a few days, but as part of the person I want to become. What practice will become my lighthouse? Because once you begin answering those questions, you're not simply changing your mornings. You're slowly changing the direction of your entire life. If this speaks to you, write these words below. My morning ritual is my foundation. Sometimes speaking a commitment aloud is the first step toward making it real. 2. Winning the battle before it begins. The greatest battles are often won before the sun even rises. Not on a battlefield, but in the mind. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew the real struggle of the day doesn't begin when problems appear. It begins in those early moments when you decide how you will meet the world. One of the core Stoic teachings is called the discipline of assent. In simple terms, it means this: you have the power to choose which thoughts you accept and which thoughts you reject. And the morning is when that power is strongest. Your mind is still fresh, untouched by stress, distractions, and emotional noise. This is your advantage. This is your opening. Imagine your mind as a fortress. Every day, different forces try to break through its gates. Anxiety about the future, frustration with people, pressure from responsibilities, regrets from the past. If you wait until those emotions overwhelm you, you're already in defense mode. But if you strengthen your mind before the chaos arrives, you stand on solid ground. Marcus Aurelius practiced something like this every morning. He would quietly prepare himself for the reality of the day ahead, not by trying to control every detail, but by reminding himself of his principles. He would say, "Today I may meet people who are impatient, selfish, dishonest, or difficult, but I will not allow their behavior to disturb my peace." That is what inner preparation looks like. Not pretending life will be easy, but deciding in advance how you will respond when it isn't. This is how you win before the battle begins. You choose your mindset before the world chooses it for you. Because when you wake up and immediately grab your phone, you hand over control of your inner world. Someone else's stress becomes your stress. Someone else's urgency becomes your anxiety. Someone else's negativity enters your mind before your own thoughts even have a chance to settle. The Stoics would have seen this as giving away your freedom, allowing external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. But when you wake up and spend time with yourself first, before emails, notifications, or noise, something powerful happens. You begin the day from within instead of from reaction. And that changes everything. We use cookies. The silence between words is what gives language its depth. The pause between movements is what allows dance to flow with grace. And your morning silence? That quiet space shapes the quality of your entire life. It gives meaning to everything that follows. Modern culture has taught us to fear silence. We rush to fill every empty moment with noise, distractions, notifications, and endless stimulation. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is not nothing. In many ways, it is everything. When you sit in silence, you are not wasting time. You are reconnecting with yourself. You are not being lazy or unproductive. You are returning to the source of clarity, creativity, and true productivity. The Stoics practiced something they called retreat into the self. It wasn't about escaping the world physically. It was about creating an inner sanctuary, a calm place within themselves. And the morning is the perfect time to access that space because the world has not yet started pulling at your attention. The emails can wait. The problems of the day haven't fully arrived. The roles you play, parent, employee, partner, provider, are still quiet for a little while. In those early moments, you are simply yourself. And something powerful happens in that silence. Your nervous system begins to settle. Stress levels soften. Your mind becomes clearer. The part of your brain responsible for wisdom, decision-making, and emotional balance starts functioning at its best. You may feel like you're doing nothing, but internally your entire system is preparing itself to move through the day with greater calm, focus, and strength. But beyond the science, there's also something deeply spiritual about morning silence. Not necessarily religious, spiritual in the sense that it reconnects you with something larger than your immediate worries. In silence, perspective returns. Your problems no longer feel so overwhelming. Gratitude becomes easier to feel. Your connection to life grows deeper. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more than we speak. In the same spirit, we could say that life gives us silence and noise, so we can learn to value silence more than constant chaos. Because in silence, we finally begin to listen. We listen to life. We listen to intuition. We hear the quiet wisdom that has always been inside us, but is often buried beneath endless activity and distraction. And the practice itself is beautifully simple. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Then simply be. Don't try to force meditation techniques. Don't visualize. Don't repeat affirmations. Just sit in stillness. If thoughts appear, let them pass like clouds across the sky. If emotions arise, allow them to move through naturally. You are not trying to reach some perfect state of peace. You are simply learning to be present with yourself without judgment. Some mornings your mind will feel calm. Some mornings it will feel restless. Both are completely okay. The goal is not to control your inner world. The goal is to become aware of it. This is how self-awareness grows. This is how you begin to notice your habits and patterns without being controlled by them. And the beauty of morning silence is that its effects build over time. The first day may feel uncomfortable. After a week, you may notice subtle changes. After a month, you may feel like a completely different person. Not because you became someone new, but because you uncovered who you truly were beneath all the noise. The noise hides your truth. Silence reveals it. And if that truth speaks to you, remember this. In silence, I discover my truest self. Now let's move to another important truth. Moving with purpose, not pressure. The body remembers what the mind often forgets. It carries stress. It stores tension. It holds yesterday's burdens long after the day has ended. The Stoics understood that wisdom is not only mental or philosophical, it is physical too. When Marcus Aurelius prepared himself for the day, he didn't only reflect and meditate. He moved his body. He understood that a stagnant body can create a stagnant mind, and that movement becomes a bridge between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. In Stoic philosophy, there was a concept called pneuma, the vital breath or life force connecting body and soul. The Stoics believed this energy needed movement and awakening, not through punishing workouts or extreme routines, but through intentional movement that respected the body. Think of a river frozen through winter. When spring arrives, the ice doesn't break apart violently. It melts slowly and naturally until the river remembers how to flow again. Your body works the same way in the morning. After hours of stillness during sleep, your body needs gentle movement to wake up and feel alive again. Not through force, but through care. This isn't about becoming a professional athlete or chasing perfect fitness goals, though those goals can be meaningful. It's about something deeper, being fully present in your body with appreciation and awareness. When you stretch in the morning, you are doing more than loosening muscles. You are saying, thank you to the legs that carry you. Thank you to the arms that hold and create. Thank you to the heart that continues beating without ever asking for recognition. Seneca wrote about physical resilience, not for vanity or competition, but because the body is a vessel through which we practice virtue. How can we practice courage if our bodies are weakened by neglect? How can we develop discipline if we never challenge ourselves physically? How can we grow wise if we are disconnected from the intelligence of our own bodies? Morning is the ideal time to reconnect because the body speaks honestly in those early hours. It tells you where tension lives. It reveals where stress is being held. It shows you what needs care and attention. And that awareness is a gift. Whether it's stretching, walking, yoga, or slow mindful movement, the goal is not perfection. The goal is presence. Many people approach morning movement with pressure, trying to burn calories, hit goals, or check another task off the list. But the Stoic approach is different. Morning movement is not a punishment. It is not another achievement to chase. It is meditation through motion, a quiet conversation between body, mind, and spirit. a way of saying, I am here, I am awake, I am alive. Consider how animals move when they first wake up. A cat doesn't follow a workout routine or check a fitness app. It stretches slowly, naturally, and completely in tune with its body. A dog doesn't count reps or worry about calories. It shakes off sleep, stretches, runs, and plays because movement is instinctive. For animals, movement is natural, joyful, necessary. But somewhere along the way, we humans lost that connection. We turned movement into pressure instead of celebration. What was once a natural expression of life became another obligation on our checklist. The truth is, morning movement does not have to be complicated. 5 or 10 minutes is enough. Maybe you move through gentle stretches, feeling your body slowly awaken. Maybe you take a quiet walk outside and let your legs reconnect with their strength. Maybe you put on music and dance in a way that makes you feel alive again. The form matters far less than the intention behind it. What transforms movement from simple exercise into a Stoic practice is mindfulness. As you move, you begin to notice things. You notice your breathing becoming deeper and calmer. You notice tension slowly leaving your shoulders and chest. You notice energy beginning to flow through your body again. You are not escaping your body, you are reconnecting with it. You are not criticizing it for being imperfect. You are appreciating it for carrying you through life exactly as it is. There's also something deeply empowering about moving before the world starts making demands of you. When you move on your own terms, at your own pace, in your own quiet time, you practice autonomy. You remind yourself that your body belongs to you, not to your employer, not to society, not to the expectations of others. It is yours, and you have the right to care for it with patience, respect, and love instead of force and pressure. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught the importance of focusing on what is within our control. We cannot control every aspect of life. We cannot fully control illness. We cannot stop aging. We cannot choose our genetics, but we can choose how we care for ourselves each morning. That choice is within our power, and within that power lives our dignity. And something beautiful happens when you begin your day moving with intention. That intentionality follows you everywhere. It changes the way you speak to people, the way you handle stress, the way you approach challenges, the way you carry yourself through the entire day. Because physical awareness and mental awareness are not separate things, they strengthen each other. So tomorrow morning, after your moment of silence, allow yourself to move. Not because you are trying to fix yourself, but because you are honoring yourself, not with pressure, but with purpose. And remember this promise: I honor my body through mindful movement. Your future self is shaped by the choices you make today. Feeding your mind before the world feeds you what you allow into your mind in the morning becomes the foundation for your thoughts throughout the rest of the day. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. They did not begin their mornings consuming gossip, negativity, endless entertainment, or meaningless distractions. Instead, they chose carefully what they fed their minds. They treated wisdom as nourishment, because mental nutrition matters just as much as physical nutrition, perhaps even more. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He kept a personal journal we now know as meditations. But these writings were not simply nighttime reflections. Many were reminders he gave himself in the morning. He used writing to prepare his mind before facing the world. He reminded himself how to think, how to respond to difficulty, how to stay aligned with his values. In many ways, he was training his mind before the world had a chance to influence it. And there is wisdom in that practice. Nearly every spiritual and philosophical tradition includes some form of morning reading, prayer, or contemplation. Not because of superstition, but because the first thoughts we engage with shape our mental and emotional state for the rest of the day. The first words you read matter. The first ideas you absorb matter. The first emotions you invite into your mind matter. They create the tone and direction of your day. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument before a performance. A musician would never walk onto a stage without first tuning their instrument. In the same way, we should not enter the day without first tuning the mind. Now compare two different mornings. In one, you wake up and immediately scroll through social media, consuming comparison, outrage, distractions, and endless noise created by other people's lives. In the other, you wake up and spend a few minutes reading something meaningful, a passage from a philosopher, a poet, a spiritual teacher, or a writer who expands your perspective. One fills the mind with anxiety and reaction. The other fills it with clarity and wisdom. The Stoics even had a practice known as morning reading of the philosophers. But it was never about sounding intelligent or collecting information. It was about remembering truths they already knew, but often forgot under stress. Seneca would often read the teachings of Epictetus, not to memorize ideas, but to ground himself in wisdom before the demands of life began pulling at him. We use cookies. Marcus Aurelius would read the teachings of Epictetus. The Stoics understood something powerful. Before the world fills your mind with noise, you must first fill it with truth. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to spend hours reading every morning. You don't need to finish entire books or absorb endless information. You simply need something that resonates. One paragraph that truly touches your soul is more valuable than 10 chapters you forget the moment you close the book. Because real wisdom is not about quantity. It's about depth. Not information, but transformation. Choose your source carefully. Maybe it's Stoic philosophy that strengthens your perspective. Maybe it's poetry that opens your heart. Maybe it's a spiritual text that grounds your values. Maybe it's the story of someone whose courage inspires your own. The exact source matters less than the intention behind it. You are consciously deciding what shapes your mind. You are choosing the mental seeds you plant at the beginning of the day. Psychology calls this priming, the idea that whatever you expose yourself to first influences how you experience everything that follows. If you begin your morning with wisdom, you are more likely to move through the day with wisdom. If you begin your morning with negativity, comparison, or drama, those emotions shape the lens through which you see life. So your morning reading is more than reading words. It is choosing the mindset you want to carry into the day. Epictetus once taught, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." But how can we embody wisdom if we never pause to remember it? Morning reading becomes that reminder. It reminds you who you want to be, what truly matters, how you want to show up in the world. And this practice should never feel like pressure. It is not homework. It is nourishment. Think of it like medicine for the mind. You don't resent medicine that heals you. You take it with gratitude because it restores you. Morning wisdom works the same way. It strengthens your perspective before the world tries to overwhelm it. The practice itself can be incredibly simple. Keep one meaningful book, journal, or source of wisdom near your bed or in your morning space. Before checking your phone, before reading messages, before social media or the news, read one page, one paragraph, even one sentence. Then sit with it for a moment. Let it settle into your thoughts. Let it shape the way you see the day ahead. Some mornings, a single line will hit you deeply. It will reveal exactly what you needed to hear. Other mornings, you may want to read more and reflect longer. Both are perfectly fine. This practice is not about consuming more. It is about consuming wisely. The Stoics also valued memorization. They would carry meaningful passages in their hearts so that wisdom was available during difficult moments. You can do the same. When a sentence truly speaks to you, write it down. Repeat it to yourself. Allow it to become part of your inner voice, the voice that guides you when fear, doubt, or frustration appear. Because you are the gatekeeper of your mind. And the morning is when you choose what enters first. Choose wisdom. Choose truth. Choose growth. Setting intentions, not just goals. There is an important difference between goals and intentions. And the Stoics understood this deeply. Goals are usually tied to outcomes. Intentions are tied to character. Goals focus on what you want to achieve. Intentions focus on the kind of person you choose to become. The challenge with goals is that many outcomes depend on things outside your control. But intentions? Those belong entirely to you. And every morning, before life becomes unpredictable, You have the opportunity to decide not what will happen, but who you will be no matter what happens. Marcus Aurelius lived with this awareness daily. As emperor, he could not control whether battles would be won, whether people would betray him, or whether his health would remain strong. But he could control his character. So instead of beginning the day thinking, "Today I must succeed," he focused on intentions like, "Today I will be patient. Today I will act with courage. Today I will remain just and compassionate. Not I will win today, but I will be worthy of whatever today brings." That is the heart of Stoic wisdom. External events are never fully within our control, but our mindset, choices, and character always are. And the morning is the moment you reclaim that power. When you set an intention, you are not trying to predict or control the entire day. You are simply choosing the values that will guide you through it. Think of intentions like a compass. A compass cannot guarantee an easy journey, but it always points you back toward the right direction. Your morning intention works the same way. It helps you stay grounded when life becomes chaotic. It reminds you who you want to be when emotions rise. It guides you back to your values when distractions pull you away. Modern culture often teaches us to focus only on productivity and achievement. We wake up thinking, what do I need to finish? What do I need to prove? What goals do I need to hit? But the Stoics asked a deeper question. Who do I need to be today? Because when your focus shifts from doing to being, your actions begin to align naturally with your values. Achievement without character often feels empty, but actions rooted in integrity create a meaningful life. Seneca once wrote that life is not necessarily short, we simply waste much of it. And the waste he spoke of was not about efficiency or productivity. It was about drifting through life unconsciously, reacting instead of responding, living without direction, allowing circumstances to shape us instead of choosing our own path. Your morning intention is how you stop drifting. It is how you become the author of your day instead of simply reacting to whatever happens around you. And the practice itself is simple. After your silence, after your movement, after feeding your mind with wisdom, pause and ask yourself one honest question. How do I want to show up today? Not, what do I want to achieve? But, how do I want to be? Maybe your intention is to stay calm under pressure. Maybe it is to listen more deeply. Maybe it is to respond with grace when someone challenges you. Maybe it is to remain kind even when you feel tired. These are not tasks to complete. They are qualities to embody. And the beauty of intentions is that they are always within your control. You cannot control traffic, but you can choose patience. You cannot guarantee success, but you can choose effort and integrity. You cannot force others to appreciate you, but you can still choose kindness and honesty. Epictetus taught about the power of choice, the ability to decide your response no matter what circumstances arise around you. And every morning gives you a fresh opportunity to practice that power. The power to choose how we respond to life exists within all of us. But that power does not stay active on its own. It needs to be awakened, strengthened, and remembered every single day. That is what your morning intention does. It reminds you, today I choose consciously. Today I lead myself. Today I remember who I am. And there is incredible freedom in living this way. When you focus only on goals, your peace becomes tied to results you cannot fully control. But when you focus on intention, your peace comes from alignment with your values. Instead of asking, did I succeed? You begin asking, did I show up with integrity? Did I stay true to myself? Did I respond the way I intended to? Those are questions you can actually answer, and that is empowering. Writing your intention down can help. Speaking it out loud can help even more. Carry it with you throughout the day like a quiet compass. And most importantly, return to it often. When stress hits in the middle of the day, pause for a moment and remember, what was my intention this morning? Let that answer guide you back to yourself. Some days you will live your intention beautifully. Other days you may forget it before breakfast. Both are part of the journey. The Stoics never chased perfection. They practiced returning, returning to awareness, returning to wisdom, returning to choice again and again. Falling is human. Returning is growth. Your morning intention is a declaration of personal freedom. It is you saying, life may bring challenges today, but I know who I want to be. I know what I stand for. I know how I choose to move through this world. And that kind of clarity changes everything. Remember this. I choose my character before life chooses for me. That is more than a sentence. It is a promise to yourself. Gratitude as a foundation, not an afterthought. This final principle may be the most powerful of all. Begin your day with gratitude. Not surface-level gratitude, where you quickly list random things out of habit, but deep gratitude, the kind that changes the way you see life itself. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. But it begins with something simple. Opening your eyes in the morning and recognizing the gift of being alive. Another breath, another sunrise, another chance to live, learn, and grow. Marcus Aurelius often began his mornings reflecting on what he had been given, not just possessions, but the gift of consciousness itself, the ability to think, to choose, to love, to become better. He once wrote, "When you rise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive." And these words did not come from someone with an easy life. He lived through war, betrayal, illness, and loss. Yet he still chose gratitude. Not because life was perfect, but because gratitude gave him strength within imperfection. This is where many people misunderstand gratitude. Gratitude is not pretending everything is okay. It is not denying pain or difficulty. It is recognizing that even in difficult seasons, something meaningful still exists. Even in hardship, there is growth. Even in darkness, there is light. Even in struggle, there is something worth appreciating. The Stoics practiced gratitude because life was difficult, not because it was easy. Gratitude became their anchor during storms. Imagine two people facing the exact same difficult day. One wakes up focused on everything missing, everything wrong, and everything that could go badly. The other begins by recognizing what is still present, still beautiful, still possible. Their circumstances may be identical, but their experience of life becomes completely different. Because gratitude does not always change your situation. It changes the way you meet your situation. And that changes everything. Modern neuroscience even supports this ancient wisdom. Practicing gratitude strengthens the brain's ability to notice beauty, connection, and possibility. It helps shift attention away from constant fear, negativity, and scarcity. In other words, gratitude trains your mind to see life differently. This is not just philosophy. It is emotional conditioning. It is mental resilience. Seneca wrote about appreciating good things before taking them for granted. The Stoics wanted to truly feel the blessings in their lives instead of sleepwalking past them. And morning is the perfect time for this practice. Your mind is quieter. Your heart is more open. The weight of the day has not fully arrived yet. This is when gratitude can sink deepest. Here is a simple practice. Before getting out of bed or after your morning ritual, place your hand on your heart and take 3 slow breaths. Then think of 3 specific things you are grateful for. Not vague ideas like, "I'm grateful for my family." Instead, make it real and personal. "I'm grateful for the way my daughter laughed yesterday." "I'm grateful my body carried me through another day." "I'm grateful for the friend who checked on me." Specific gratitude becomes emotional gratitude. The Stoics also practiced something called negative visualization. They would briefly imagine losing what they loved, not to become fearful, but to appreciate life more deeply. What if this morning had never come? What if you had never opened your eyes today? When you remember how fragile life is, gratitude stops being an intellectual exercise and becomes something you feel deeply inside. But the deepest level of gratitude is this, being grateful even for the challenges. This is advanced Stoicism. This is where amor fati truly begins. Can you appreciate difficult experiences not because they are pleasant, but because they help shape your character? Because struggle teaches lessons comfort never could. Because challenges reveal strength you didn't know you had. Because growth often comes through discomfort. Epictetus believed every obstacle could become training for the soul. Every hardship teaches something. Every challenge develops resilience. Every difficult moment is an opportunity to practice patience, courage, or wisdom. When you begin your morning with this mindset, you stop fearing the day ahead. Instead, you meet life with readiness, not as a victim of circumstances, but as someone willing to grow through them. And this does not mean forcing fake positivity. Some mornings are heavy. Some seasons are painful. The Stoics understood that too. But even in difficult moments, there is still something to honor: your strength, your endurance, your willingness to keep going. Your gratitude practice becomes an act of resistance against cynicism, negativity, and constant comparison. You choose to see differently. You choose to live differently. And maybe that choice changes your entire life. So remember this: I begin each day with a grateful heart. Feel the meaning behind those words. Because transformation rarely happens through dramatic moments. More often, it happens quietly, through the small choices we repeat every morning. The sun rises whether we are ready or not, but how we meet that sunrise is entirely our choice. These Stoic principles are not rules to follow perfectly. They are gentle reminders to return to yourself again and again, morning after morning, choice after choice, breath after breath. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all faced hardship, uncertainty, loss, and struggle. Yet they discovered something timeless. Every morning is a new beginning. No matter what happened yesterday, you can begin again today. Your morning is not just preparation for life. It is life itself. And when you fill it with silence, movement, wisdom, intention, and gratitude, you slowly become the person you were always capable of becoming. The world will always demand your attention. It will always distract and overwhelm you. But before all that begins, you have a choice. A quiet moment, a fresh start, a chance to rise intentionally. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, remember, you are not simply waking up. You are rising. You are reclaiming your life one intentional choice at a time. One breath at a time. One morning at a time. And thousands of years of wisdom walk beside you in that process. Most importantly, your truest self is waiting for you there, ready to be remembered, honored, and fully lived. Wake up early. Begin your day with purpose. Return to yourself daily. This is how transformation happens. And carry this final reminder with you. Every morning, I rise into the person I am becoming. Not someday, not in the future, right now.